It's that time again. Welcome to another midweek message. It's 11 centigrade, 52 Fahrenheit, 99% humidity, 1006 millibars on the barometer, and the flag isn't moving. It's wet, drooping, doing nothing. It's an awful day. We've been to Gatwick. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. We've been up to Gatwick Airport, dropped off number one daughter and her hubby. They're going to some Disney thing. Is it in Germany or Switzerland? I don't know where it is. But they're now at Gatwick and their plane takes off at, I believe, 8:10. 80-mile round trip to Gatwick and back. That's not bad, just under 80 miles. Didn't take us long. Of course, being bank holiday Monday, those of you abroad, that means that no one's at work. Everyone's staying in bed and having a lazy day today. But the roads were empty. Absolutely wonderful. We were up at 4:15, left here at, about 5 o'clock. The roads were empty. Lashing with rain, though, that was the only trouble. Absolutely torrential rain. Awful weather conditions. But hang on a minute, it is bank holiday weekend. What else would you expect in Britain? On the way up to Gatwick, the clouds were so low. I don't think it was mist or fog. It was the clouds. They were just about sitting on the ground, which was interesting. Nothing exciting to report on the journey. Just drove up there and back, had a nice breakfast, and now, of course, it's very early. It's very early. And everyone's asleep. I've called out on the radio. Everyone's in bed asleep. So it's just me on my own, on my lonesome. But I've got you to keep me company, which is lovely. I've often talked about farms around us where I live. In the old days, they've gone now, of course. And Brenda, hello Brenda, you've asked whether we had cornfields. Yes, I've told you about a cornfield near the primary school I went to. We used to watch the combine harvester go up and down. And the little, they field mice, whatever they were, used to rush out and run across the playground. But there were a lot of other cornfields around. There were lots of farms, lots of cornfields, and of course in the summer they were great fun. We used to go exploring, looking for mice and all sorts of things. One thing we did often see in the summer, when we were 12, 13, 14, we would hide in the bushes and watch courting couples. They'd sneak off into the corn, and then you'd just see a head bob up now and then and look around, a bit like a rabbit would, Head would bob up, have a look around, then bob back down again. That was quite good fun. And sometimes we'd see a farmer walking around the edge of the cornfield with his dog. Not with a double-barreled 12-bore shotgun. Mind you, we have seen that in the woods. But the farmer would walk around the edge of the cornfield, looking out for kids mucking around in the corn or courting couples. And sometimes he'd shout. He'd see a head bob up and he'd shout. Then you'd see a couple running off, grabbing their clothes and running off through the corn. It was really good. That didn't happen very often, but when it did happen, it was hilarious. Of course, we were shrieking with laughter. That was great fun. The cornfields were beautiful. We used to sit there for ages just eating the what are they called? The grain, take off the chaff? The shells, the shuttles, whatever they're called. And we just sit there chewing on the actual wheat itself. I don't know what it was, whether it was corn, barley, wheat, whatever it was, I don't know. But it tasted nice, and we'd just sit there under the summer sun, relaxing in our school holidays, watching the mice, watching foxes, watching the birds. Fantastic. Here we go. I'm off again. I'm off on the woods again. Can't go to the woods today. Absolutely torrential. In fact, it's stopping now. The rain is just easing off now. The funny thing is, it was only yesterday I'm sitting outside in the garden in my shorts, my T-shirt, getting too hot. I had to go and sit in the shade. I was too hot. How the weather changes from one minute to the next, it's just incredible. Brilliant sunshine, lashing rain. There we are. Where are we? We're getting through May slowly, aren't we? So it can only get better. Is that right? Are you sure? As you know, I don't normally tell jokes, but I was sent this by a friend the other day. I thought it quite funny. John, who lived in North Yorkshire, decided to go on a golfing holiday in Scotland with his friend Sean. They loaded up John's van and headed north. After driving a few hours, they got caught in a terrible blizzard, so they pulled into a nearby farm and asked the attractive lady who answered the door if they could spend the night. "I realise it's terrible weather out there," she said, "and I have this huge house all to myself, but I'm recently widowed. I'm also afraid the neighbours will talk if I let you stay in the house." "Don't worry," John said, "we'll be happy to sleep in the barn, and if the weather breaks, we'll be gone at first light." The lady agreed, and the two men found their way to the barn and settled in for the night. Come the morning, the weather had cleared, and they got on their way. They then had a great weekend of golfing. About 9 months later, John got an unexpected letter from a solicitor. It took him a few minutes to figure it out, but he finally determined that it was from the lawyer representing the attractive widow he'd met on the golf weekend. He dropped in on his friend Sean and asked, "Do you remember that good-looking woman from the farm we stayed at on our golfing holiday?" "I do," said Sean. "Did you happen to get up in the middle of the night and go up to the house and pay her a visit by any chance?" Yes, I did," Sean admitted, a little embarrassed about being found out. "I have to admit that I did." "And did you happen to give her my name instead of yours?" Sean's face turned bright red, and he said, "Yeah, look, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I did. Why do you ask?" "She passed away and left me everything, the farm, the house, the lot," John replied with a chuckle. "That's funny. I thought it was funny anyway. As it was 9 months ago they stayed at the farm, I was expecting the lady to have been pregnant and given birth to a child, of course. And he was left the farm, the house, everything. Anyway, there we are. A silly joke, but I thought that quite good. I'm terrible at remembering jokes, even really good jokes. I do my best to remember them, but I just forget. I don't know why. I just cannot remember jokes. That one was emailed to me, so I just read the email. That's cheating, isn't it? There is one joke that I have remembered, but I can't tell you that, unfortunately. It's rather rude. And we don't do rude on here, do we? We don't do rude or politics. Ah, dear. Happy days. Stone the crows. The rain stopped. It's brightening up a little bit. Thank goodness for that. Do you remember I asked you what your first car was? Here we are. Who's this? Bob in Washington, over there in America. Hello, Bob. Picture of you in your car. Look at that. A 1965 Plymouth Valiant V200 model, 3.7 litre, straight six, column shift, automatic. Bob says I was 5 years old when the car was purchased by my uncle, and I remember going for an ice cream when he came over to show it off. That's nice. That's a nice car. I love American cars. And who was it, Rob in Australia? Your first car, what was it, a station wagon? A Matchbox car? I didn't mean Matchbox dinky cars. I meant real cars. But that's lovely. Thanks for that photo. And your granddaughter and your mum in the kitchen, making things in the kitchen. That's really nice. That's nice, Bob. It's nice to see your mum and your granddaughter there getting up to some food preparation in the kitchen, teaching kids how to cook and things like that. So many people these days, adults, they can't cook anything. Well, I can't, but that's different. Brent, nice to hear from you. Your first car, 1965 Ford Fairlane. How about that? You were 23 when you got your first car. That's nice. Again, another nice American car. It's not fair. We're stuck here with... Well, let me go through one or two. There's Steve, a Moggy 1000. Remember the Moggy Minor, Morris Minor 1000? That's not bad. John, A35. My brother-in-law, Paul, his first car was an A35. They're all little cars. Oh, then he had a Triumph Herald. Mine was a Hillman Minx, 1954 Minx. But compared to the American cars, they just don't... I don't know. I just like the American cars. Anyway, thank you to you all. There's Sally, who had a Mark I Cortina. That's going back a bit. Linda, you had a Morris 1000. I've just jotted a few down here. I can't read them all out. We'll be here all day. Melissa, you had a Triumph... Oh, no, Triumph Vitesse. Not a Herald, Triumph Vitesse. That was a six-cylinder car, wasn't it, I believe? A straight six engine, the Vitesse. That was nice. Jerry, you had a Bedford van. Oh, with the sliding doors. Yes, they were great. You could slide the doors open and leave them open while you're driving along. I remember those. That was great fun. No seatbelt. You know, you could just fall out onto the road if you're going too fast round a corner. Great fun. Anyway, keep sending the emails. raiserants@protonmail.com. Let me know what your first car was. One more email before I leave you in peace. Anita. Hello, Anita. Don't know where you're from. Somewhere UK by your email address. You can't abide shouting, you say. I'm like you, Ray. I can't abide shouting. Adverts, TV programmes, radio, DJ. Yes, disc jockeys on the radios. They shout, don't they? They shout all the time. Disc jockeys used to have a personality on the pirate ships. I'm going on about pirating again, aren't I? Pirate radio, Radio Caroline, Radio London in the North Sea on their ships. The DJs became personalities, Tony Blackburn, Johnny Walker, Kenny Everett. Whereas these days, and this is what Anita is agreeing with, they just spin discs. Well, they don't even spin discs anymore, do they? They don't have record decks. It's all on a computer. They just press buttons. They don't seem to have that character, that personality anymore. They were personalities, weren't they? Thank you for that, Anita. I can't abide shouting. I don't know why people have to shout. Some of these adverts, they're getting worse. Do you remember that double glazing advert here in the UK? It was, I forget what company it was. There's this chap pushing over double glazed window units and he shouts out, buy one, get one free. Buy one, buy one, get one free. And you're thinking, Struth, I'm not deaf. I wouldn't buy your windows if they were free, let alone buy one, get one free. Shouting and pushing these windows over. I don't know what's wrong with these advertising agencies. Well, they're obviously mental. They're deranged. They need therapy. On that note, I shall love you and leave you. Where are we? Now, this is Wednesday. Look forward to Sunday's episode. Don't know what that's going to be about yet. If you have any ideas, let me know. And I will put them in my ideas book and then forget about it or lose the book. As is my wont. Take care, look after yourselves, be good, be bad, be healthy, and above all, be happy. I'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.